The rain was falling hard. The sky was dark, full of smoke and fire. A ship had crashed in the middle of a strange alien forest. Metal was broken. Fire was dying slowly. There was no sound except the storm dot inside a dark cave nearby. A man opened his eyes. His name was Captain Eli Ward, a human soldier. His body hurt all over. Blood was on his side. His head was spinning. He didn't remember much, only the sound of alarms, the crash. And then ... nothing. Now, he was lying on hard, cold ground. It was dark, and the only light came from a strange blue stone on the wall. He tried to sit up. Pain shot through his body. Damn, he whispered. Suddenly, he heard something. A deep breath. Not his. He froze. Something was in the cave with him. He turned his head slowly. In the shadows, something moved. Something tall. Something not human. He saw eyes, glowing blue eyes, staring at him. His heart started to beat faster. He picked up a broken piece of metal beside him. It was not a weapon, but it was better than nothing. "Who's there?" he said, his voice shaking. The figure stepped closer. It was a female alien, tall, strong, and terrifying. Her skin was dark gray with light blue markings. She had long claws, a strong tail, and two small horns on her head. Her body was covered in armor-like scales. She looked like a creature from a nightmare. Eli held the metal tight, ready to fight, but the alien didn't attack. She just looked at him with those strange eyes. Then slowly, she knelt down and placed something on the ground. It was a fruit. Red, glowing softly. Eli blinked in confusion. She stood up again, turned, and walked back into the shadows. Eli didn't know what to do. His breathing was fast. His body was cold, wet, and shaking. But his curiosity was stronger than his fear. He crawled to the fruit and picked it up. It felt warm in his hand. He looked at the cave entrance. Rain was pouring outside. His ship was gone. No way to contact anyone. No one coming. He looked at the shadows again. "Why are you helping me?" he whispered. No answer. But deep in the cave, something moved again. She returned. This time she was carrying a small bowl made from a large leaf. Inside was clean water. She placed it near him, then sat down far away, watching him in silence. Eli was confused. Was she dangerous? Why didn't she kill him? Why help? He looked at her face. It was hard to read. Her mouth was tight, her eyes full of something, not anger, not fear. Maybe curiosity? He drank the water slowly. It felt good. Warm, safe. The alien woman didn't speak. She didn't come closer. She just stayed there, watching him, like she was also trying to understand him. Hours passed. Eli tried to sleep, but the cold made it hard. His body ached. The cave was deep and strange, filled with old markings and glowing roots. He dreamed of Earth, of his sister's voice, of home. He woke up to a sound footsteps. She was back. This time, carrying strange leaves and glowing stones. She came closer than before. Eli tensed up. She knelt beside him. Slowly, gently, she placed her hand over his wounded side. Her skin was cold, but her touch was light. The blue stone in her other hand glowed brighter. She closed her eyes. A soft hum filled the cave. Then, the pain in his side began to fade. He looked down. The wound was still there, but smaller. Not bleeding anymore. He stared at her. "You healed me," he whispered. The alien opened her eyes and stood. She didn't reply. She turned and walked back to the darkness. Eli watched her disappear again. Who was she? Why was she helping a human? He thought aliens hated humans. That's what the war report said. That's what they were told. But she hadn't hurt him. She had saved him. Maybe not all aliens were monsters. That night, he looked at the dark side of the cave and whispered, "Thank you." A moment of silence passed. Then, from the shadows, a low voice answered back, "Rest." She should not be here. She knew that. Every step she took closer to the cave was a step toward betrayal. The council would punish her. Her clan would call her weak, but still, she returned not because of duty, not because of orders, but because of him, the human. Her name was Karina, once a warrior of the mountain clans. Now a shadow in exile. Her crime? Mercy. She had refused to burn a village during the last human war. Her people had seen it as weakness. Now she lived alone, far from her kind. But today, her world was not silent anymore. Karina stood just outside the cave entrance, blending into the wet rocks like a statue. Her sharp eyes watched the human sleep. He moved often, as if running from something in his dreams. She tilted her head. Humans were smaller than her kind, softer, fragile bones, no scales, no claws, but something about this one Eli was different. He had not screamed when she touched him. He had not begged. He had said, "Thank you." No creature had ever thanked her since exile. She stepped inside the cave. Her feet made no sound. Eli woke up slowly, blinking. When he saw her, he didn't flinch. "Not this time. You're here again," he said softly. Karina didn't answer. She knelt near the fire pit and placed new fuel, dry wood, and a spark stone. She lit it with a soft touch of her claws. The fire came alive between them. Eli sat up with effort. His side still hurt, but the pain was dull now. He looked at her for a long moment. "You know who I am, don't you?" he asked. She didn't look at him, but spoke for the first time since the crash. "Yes," she said. Her voice was calm, deep, echoing like wind in a canyon. Eli frowned. "You speak English?" "I understand it," she replied. "Not many words." "Enough. Why help me?" he asked. She finally turned her head. Her glowing eyes met his. "You are alone," she said. "Like me." Silence. The fire crackled softly. Eli stared into the flames, unsure how to reply. "You could have killed me," he said after a while. "But you didn't. Why?" Karina stood up, walked to the mouth of the cave. She looked out into the stormy sky. "My people hate humans," she said. "They believe your kind are destroyers, fire makers, greedy walkers. Is that what you think too?" he asked quietly. Karina paused. "No," she said. "I think they fear what they do not understand." Eli stood now slowly, his body still weak, but his strength returning. "You're not like the others," he said. She didn't turn. "And they will come for you," she said. "If they find your ship, if they know I helped you, they will not ask questions. Only burn." Eli's jaw tightened. "I can't leave yet. My cum is broken. I don't know where I am." "You are in forbidden ground," she said. "Dead land between two tribes. No one comes here. That is why you still live. So we hide?" he asked. Karina nodded. "For now." She began walking deeper into the cave. "Follow," she said. Eli followed. Limping a little, the cave opened into a larger space, walls covered in glowing roots, strange symbols carved into stone. In the center, an old bed made of thick fur and dried plants. Karina stopped near it. "You will sleep here now. Fire is warmer, no cold winds." Eli looked at the bed. "You sure?" he asked. She nodded. "I sleep on stone. You are softer." He laughed once, surprised. "That almost sounds like a joke." She looked at him. "It is not." Eli sat down on the bed. It was rough, but better than the cave floor. She handed him a bowl of something warm, cooked root and melted rock salt. He tasted it. Salty, bitter, but better than nothing. Karina sat across from him. "I was a warrior once," she said. "I followed orders. I was loyal. Until they asked me to kill children." Eli stopped eating. "I said no," she continued. "So they cut my name from the stones, called me traitor. I left." "I'm sorry," he said softly. She looked at him, something unreadable in her eyes. You do not fear me anymore, she sighed. I did, he admitted. But not now, you saved me. And you haven't tried to eat me yet, she blinked. Eat you? It's a human joke, he smiled. Then slowly, she smiled back, a small one. Barely there. But real. Suddenly noise outside. Eli stood fast. Karina turned toward the entrance. Eyes sharp. Far off distant growls. Voices. Her face changed. They are near. Who? She looked at him with a cold calm. My people. It began with silence. Not the silence of danger. Not the silence before an attack. This was a different kind. A heavy, quiet silence. Between two souls that didn't understand each other, but also couldn't look away. Karina stood at the edge of the cave. Her eyes followed the movement outside, distant shadows passing through the trees. Her people were close, hunters, warriors, with no mercy. She knew how they thought. Find the human. Kill it. Burn its scent from the land. She had once been one of them. Now, she was the only thing standing between that human and death. Inside the cave, Eli sat quietly. He was watching her, but trying not to make it obvious. He didn't understand what she was thinking. She had barely spoken since she warned him. Just watching, listening, waiting. He knew she was strong, tall, armored, fast, maybe even deadly. But she had fed him, healed him, protected him, and now she was risking her life for him. Finally she turned around. They are gone, for now. Eli let out a breath. How many? 4 scouts. One of them was my bloodkin. Eli frowned. Would he kill you too? She looked down. Yes. The fire between them crackled softly. Outside, the wind blew harder. Night was falling again. Karina walked over to a hidden shelf in the wall, carved stone holding a few supplies. She pulled out a rolled-up fur and tossed it onto the ground. Then another. She turned and looked at him. You must sleep near the fire tonight. The cold will bite. I've slept in worse, Eli said, standing slowly. Karina didn't smile, but her voice changed softer. Not with a hole in your side and death in the forest. They both moved around the small space, trying not to look at each other too much. It felt strange now, closer than before. Too close. She rolled out a sleeping mat near the fire. Then paused. There was only one good spot. The other space had a crack in the wall, cold air blowing through. She looked at him. Then back at the mat. Eli followed her eyes. You want me to? Yes. Share. The bed? Yes. A pause. He rubbed the back of his neck. Okay, no funny business. She tilted her head. I do not understand that sentence. Never mind. They lay down with their backs to each other. The fire glowed between the shadows. Neither of them spoke for a long time, but their bodies were close, not touching. Just near enough to feel the other's warmth. Eli stared at the ceiling of the cave. He could hear her breathing, deep, calm, different from a human's. He remembered her hands, the way they healed him. The quiet pain in her voice when she talked about her exile. Her people had left her behind. Just like he was left here. He didn't know why, but he didn't feel afraid anymore. Not of her. Karina's eyes were open too. She could feel the heat from his body. Humans were warmer than her kind, softer, fragile, but not weak. This one was kind, strange, brave, and he looked at her like she was something more than a monster. She had seen fear in many eyes, but not in his. Not tonight. Suddenly, thunder cracked outside. A deep, loud roar. Eli flinched. A moment later, the fire flickered out. Darkness. Silence again. Then a soft touch, her hand, finding his. Just for a second, not holding, not grabbing. Just touching. To say, I'm still here. He didn't speak. He just let her hand rest near his. The wind howled outside. But inside the cave, something warmer. Then the fire had begun to grow. Not love. Not yet, but something close. Something that made both their hearts beat. Just a little faster. The birds had stopped singing. That was the first sign. Karina's eyes snapped open. She lay still, listening to the silence outside the cave. No wind, no movement, no life, only the cold breath of the forest. Something was wrong. Beside her, Ele was still sleeping, his back turned, his breathing slow and steady. She stood up quietly, her body moving like a shadow. Her hand touched the cave wall, fingers running across a thin line of moss. Wet, too wet. She knelt near the entrance, pressed 2 fingers into the mud outside the cave. Then she saw it. A footprint. Not hers. Not his. Fresh. They had found him. Inside. Eli woke up slowly. His hand reached out, expecting to feel the warmth of fire. But the fire was gone. So was she. He sat up fast, confused. His hand reached for the pipe he had kept beside him, a poor excuse for a weapon, but better than nothing. Then she appeared from the shadows. Karina's face was different this time, sharp, alert, eyes glowing brighter. They are close, she said. Eli stood up. Your people? She nodded. Hunters, I saw signs. They are less than a hill away. How much time do we have? Not enough. Eli's heart started racing. Can we hide? No, if they find the cave, we are trapped. He stepped toward her. Then we run? Karina shook her head. You are too weak to run far. We must use the ground. Trick them. Trap. Yes, not to kill, just to slow. Eli looked around. The cave was dark, wet, old bones scattered in corners. He pointed. What about that tunnel we saw? The one that leads to the cliff? Karina's eyes narrowed. It is narrow, risky, but hidden. They won't find it. She looked at him. Then nodded. We move, now. They packed quickly. No words, just fast, quiet movement. Karina picked up a spear made from bone and stone. Her tail shifted behind her like a hunter ready to strike. Eli grabbed what little he had, a water pouch, some roots, his broken cum device. Together, they slipped into the side tunnel. The walls were tight, closing in on both sides. Eli had to crouch. Karina moved fast, even in the narrow space. She had done this before. Their breathing was the only sound now. But then noise, outside. The cave, voices, in her language. Rough, angry, searching. Karina stopped. Her body ten says ed. She turned, grabbed Eli's hand, and pushed him forward. Move. Faster. They reached the cliff opening just as the hunters entered the cave behind them. From the narrow cliff ledge, they could see the forest below. Mist covered everything. Karina pointed. We go down the side. Eli stared. That's a drop. I have climbed worse. I haven't. She looked at him, then reached into her belt and pulled out a long vine rope. Trust me, she said. Eli stared at her for a second, then nodded. The climb was slow and painful. Karina moved first, showing him where to step, where to hold. Eli followed, legs shaking, but holding on. Halfway down, a rock slipped beneath his foot. He lost balance. Karina, he shouted. Her arm shot out. She caught his wrist just in time, holding him with one hand while gripping the cliff with the other. Their eyes met. For 1 second everything was still. Then she pulled him back to the ledge. At the bottom, both were covered in mud and sweat, but they were alive. They rested under thick trees. Eli sat back, breathing hard. You saved me again, he said, smiling weakly. Karina looked at her muddy claws. You are heavier than I thought. Eli laughed. Human. Muscle. Karina tilted her head. Strange. I do not mind carrying you. He looked at her. There was something different in her eyes now. Not just warrior strength. Something warmer. Something closer. Suddenly howl in the distance. Loud, echoing. Her people were following. Rena stood fast. They will not stop. What? Now? We run, she said, holding out her hand. Together. Eli took it. And for the first time, he felt like maybe he was no longer just being protected. He was fighting with her. Blood smells like metal. That was the first thing Eli noticed. Not because of his own wounds. This time, it wasn't his blood. It was hers. They had been running through the forest for over an hour. Karina led the way, her body moving fast and sharp between trees, over fallen rocks, across cold streams. Eli followed behind, his legs burning, lungs tight. He could barely keep up, but he pushed on because she never stopped, until she did. It was small at first. She stumbled. Just one step, then again, and then she fell hard. Karina. Eli rushed forward, dropping beside her. She was on her knees, hand on her side, breathing heavy. Eli saw it now, a long gash under her ribs, deep and bleeding, red mixed with blue. Alien blood, warm on his hands. What happened? He asked, panicked. She looked up at him, her voice tight. Arrow. Back near the cliff, I pulled it out. Why didn't you tell me? We had to run. She tried to stand again. Collapsed. Eli caught her just in time. No more running. He looked around quickly. The forest was too open. No cover, no shelter. He spotted a group of rocks nearby. A small hollow space beneath. Come on, just for a bit, please. Karina didn't argue. Her eyes were unfocused now. He lifted her arm over his shoulder and dragged her toward the rocks. She didn't fight it. Inside the hollow, it was dark and cool. He laid her down carefully. She closed her eyes. Stay awake, he said. Don't sleep. She nodded weakly. Not dying yet. Not funny. Eli opened the pouch she had given him earlier. Inside were herbs, wraps, glowing powder. She had used them to heal him once. Now it was his turn. He tore part of his shirt and pressed it to the wound. Blood soaked through fast. He mixed the herbs with water and crushed them against a stone. The smell was sharp like burned mint. Karina groaned. Eli touched her arm. I'm here. Just hold on. He pressed the paste to her wound. She gasped, body tensing. I know. I'm sorry. She gritted her teeth. It burns. It's working. Slowly, the bleeding stopped. Her breathing steadied. Eli sat beside her, hands shaking, covered in her blood. You saved me first, he whispered. So now I save you. The forest outside stayed quiet. No birds. No wind. Danger still lived in the trees, but for now they had a moment. Karina opened her eyes. You did well, she said softly. I had a good teacher, he replied. She gave him a small smile. You are loud and soft, but not useless. Eli laughed. Thanks, I guess. She looked at him for a long time. You stayed, she said. You fell, he said. What was I gonna do? Leave, you could have, but I didn't. She nodded. I know. The silence between them changed. Not empty. Not awkward, just quiet. Full of something unspoken. Eli leaned back against the stone wall. You really thought I was scary at first? Karina closed her eyes again. No, she whispered. I thought I was. Eli looked at her. She wasn't scary to him anymore. She was strong, loyal, brave. And now hurt, still trying to protect him, even now. I'll keep watch, he said. You rest. I won't sleep long. Good, because I'm bad at being the hero. She smiled again. You're learning. The night fell slowly. And for the first time, he guarded her. While she slept, he listened. Every branch, every rustle. His hand held the spear she gave him, and his eyes never left her. They didn't come with war cries, they came with silence. Like shadows made of bone and smoke. 10 of them. Warriors, tall, cold, blades on their backs. Eyes like fire. Karina heard them before she saw them. A small shift in the wind. A bird flying too fast. The forest holding its breath. Her people had arrived. And this time, they weren't hunting. They were here to finish it. She stood still, weak from the wound. Beside her, Eli stepped out from the rock shelter, holding the spear with both hands. His grip was unsure, but his eyes were steady. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He stood with her. The warriors circled them, their armor glowing faint blue under the forest light. One stepped forward. A large male with jagged horns and silver scars. Va tore her blood kin. Her brother. He looked at Karina like she was already dead. You. Stand beside a human, he said, voice sharp. Is this what exile has made you? Karina didn't move. He is not your enemy. He is not one of us. Voder's eyes turned to Eli. He's the reason our lands burn. The reason we bury hatchlings. Eli swallowed hard. He couldn't understand the alien words, but he could feel the anger in every syllable. Karina stepped between them. I protected him. I chose to. The circle of warriors grew tense. You chose him, Voder said slowly. Over your clan? Karina raised her chin. I chose what was right, the warriors shouted in their language. Angry, loud, it felt like the trees themselves were shaking. Karina stayed still. Eli whispered, what are they saying? She didn't answer right away. Then softly, they are deciding if we die here or later. Two warriors grabbed Eli's arms. He struggled, but they were too strong. Karina stepped forward. Stop, she growled. A blade touched her shoulder. Tor spoke again. Your blood is already spilled, your name already gone. But this is deeper. He looked at Eli. You shared food, shelter, skin. This is not mercy. This is shame. Karina looked at Eli, his face bruised, dirt on his hands, still trying to fight. In that moment, she made her decision. I will not let you harm him, she said. Tor's face twisted. Then stand with him before the council. Speak. Your sin, let them decide. She nodded once. I will. They were taken across the valley. Long walk, no words. Eli walked beside her, hands tied. His voice was soft. You didn't have to do that. I did, she said. You are mine to protect now. His eyes met hers. And you're mine. They reached the high stone ring. The council circled. Old warriors stood in silence, painted masks, glowing symbols, eyes watching every breath. Karina stood in the center, Eli beside her. Tor stood across from them. The traitor returns, he said, and brings a human to our heart. Karina stepped forward. I bring truth. One elder raised a hand. Speak. Karina's voice didn't shake. I was told humans are monsters. I believed it. Until I saw one bleeding. Alone, not fighting. Just surviving. He did not burn my forest. He did not strike my people. He looked at me and said thank you. Whispers in the crowd. Karina continued, louder. I healed him. I learned his voice. I shared my fire. Not because I was weak, but because I saw strength and kindness. Another elder stood. You shared a bed with a human. I shared life, she said. And I would again. The circle fell silent. All eyes turned to the center elder. His words were final. Your bond breaks all rules. He looked at Eli, then back to Karina. There are two paths. Death. Or exile, together. Karina didn't look away, then exile. Eli's breath caught. You're serious? She turned to him, voice steady. Would you rather die? Alile looked at the faces around him, cold, cruel. Then he looked at her. Strong, warm, alive. No, he said. If you go, I go. The council nodded. It is done. Chains fell. Warriors stepped back. Karina and Eli walked out of the circle. Alone. No home. No tribe. No army. Only each other. And whatever came next. Freedom didn't feel like she thought it would. It wasn't loud. It wasn't joyful. It was quiet, cold, empty, and wide. So wide, Karina stood on a cliffside that overlooked the endless blue fog of the lowlands. Below, rivers sparkled like silver veins through the jungle. The wind touched her skin without judgment. The trees did not ask who she had betrayed. The sky did not care who she had chosen. For the first time in her life, she was no one, no warrior, no traitor, just a living thing. Breathing beside another. Ely sat nearby, fixing a small shelter made of old branches and leaves. It wasn't strong, but it stood. And so did he. They had walked for days, through mud, storms, silence. Sometimes they spoke, sometimes not, but they always stayed close. Close enough to hear the other's breath, close enough to remember. They were not alone. Karina sat beside him now. He handed her a hot root wrapped in bark. Not exactly a 5-star meal, he said with a grin, but I didn't burn it. She took it gently, eyes on the fire. 5 stars, she repeated. Is that good? Very. Then it is. A 5-root meal. He laughed. She didn't smile, but her tail flicked slightly. He had learned that meant she was pleased, for a while they ate in silence. Then he said softly, we should name this place. She looked around. Why? He shrugged. Because it's home now. That word hung in the air like a soft thread of music. Home. Not earth. Not the clans. Not war or duty or orders. Just here. She thought for a moment, then pointed to the sky. Do you see that star? Eli looked up. A bright blue star pulsing gently. Yeah, it's beautiful. It is called Trenek in my tongue. It means place after the last. He nodded. I like that. So we are in the place after the last. Yeah, he said. The last crash. The last hunt. The last goodbye. She turned to look at him. That something in her eyes was soft now. Almost human. You do not fear me anymore, she said. No, he replied. I still look like a monster to many. Maybe, but to me, you look like the one who stayed. She looked down at her clawed hands. You are not afraid of these? He smiled. You carried me with those. The wind moved between them, slow and warm. He reached out carefully and placed his hand over hers. Her claws curled, just a little around his fingers. Not a grip, not a pull, just held like it belonged. They stayed like that for a while, watching the fire, watching the sky, not needing to say anything more. In the days that followed, they built more. A shelter, a path to the river, a way to collect rain. He taught her how to shape wood. She taught him how to walk without sound. They argued. They laughed. They hunted. And at night, when the wind was too cold, they lay close again, not from need, but comfort. One morning, a voice called from the forest. Not a warrior, not a soldier, a voice of someone lost. Another exile. Then 2. Then 3. One had human eyes. One had scaled skin. All carried pain in their pasts. Karina looked at Eli. Eli nodded. Let them in. Soon, their small home became more. A fire pit. 3 shelters. A shared garden. A wall with painted stones that told the story of a woman who saved a human. And the human who saved her back. One night as they lay under the stars again, Eli turned to her. You still take all the blanket, he whispered. Karina looked at him, puzzled. I am not cold, exactly. She finally smiled, full and bright, and whispered one word in perfect English. Sorry.